Gentlemen, we're gonna get a little selfish today and think about us. You, me, us. Now, ladies, contrary to what you might have been told, we don't think about ourselves very often as men. Now, gentlemen, I'm not talking about thinking about ourselves like, what do you want to eat? Yeah, we think about those kinds of things. But I mean, thinking about you in terms of mental, emotional, all of this. Have you thought about you? When was the last time you thought about you? Are you taking care of all of this in here? Because that's important. Why? What do you mean, why? Of course it's important. Yeah, I know you're probably like, nah, man, I don't need all that. I'm thinking about my family. I'm thinking about my kids. Yeah, I know. That's what happens with us, gentlemen. We rarely think about ourselves because we're putting a lot of other people first, putting ourselves last on the list. But sometimes, occasionally, at least like, I don't know, once a month, we need to think about ourselves. Why? Again, it's kind of like oxygen mask in an airplane. If you don't put the oxygen mask on yourself first, how can you take care of other people? Because remember, you're supposed to be the leader, right? How are you supposed to lead and be responsible for the prosperity and tranquility and success of everybody else on the team if you yourself are not healthy? So, you did the right thing though. You came to class. That's what you got me for, balance of power. I got you covered with today's lesson. Are you taking care of you? Let's get it in. So, gentlemen, this is not going to be a comprehensive list. I'm not going to go over everything. That would be like a 5-hour video. But we are going to touch on just 3 main topics that you can focus on to make sure that you're okay. Because again, oxygen mask. If you, as the leader, don't at least do self-maintenance, making sure that you can think and thrive and do all the different things you need to do mentally and emotionally, how can we look after anybody else on the team? We really can't. So, gonna give you 3 quick tips and just do a little breakdown. If you want something more in depth, let me know in the comments below. But as for right now, going straight in. And yeah, let's do reverse order because that's always fun. So, starting with number 3, build your muscles. Now I know, some of you might be thinking, didn't this fool just tell us a whole video talking about muscles and money ain't gonna help you in your life? What he talking about, build your muscles now? What, he just contradicted himself? So yes, we did make this video fairly recently. But the point of this video is not to say don't build your muscles. The point of this video is to tell you, in the realm of getting and keeping women, having money and muscles is not the only thing you should do. That's the point of that video. Some of y'all kind of missed that. But right now, this is not about getting and keeping women. This is more about maintaining yourself. This is about you. Again, rare thing, gentlemen. We're going to think about ourselves and what we need. So yeah, building your muscles is one of the ways that you can take care of yourself. Why? You already know why. If you're any kind of dude that's been around for a while, you know how it feels good to go to the gym. You might hate going to the gym, but afterwards, the results, you start to feel good about it. On top of that, there's the endorphins that get released, so there's the chemical things that happen in your brain, but mostly, it's a way for you to get out that aggression. It's a way for you to just throw some heavy stuff around and just growl and bark and just be kind of primal. So yeah, you can build muscle by going to the gym and literally lifting weights. You can also do it by doing things that are gym-like joining some kind of a boxing gym where you're fighting and you're getting those muscles built up just from throwing punches and hitting a heavy bag or something like that. As well as other things that you might not think of as exercise. Mundane tasks, for instance, it's wintertime. Where you live, you might be in a place where there's snow. You could be outside chopping wood. Seems ridiculous, but hey, That's something you can do to relieve stress. Just out there just chopping something. You could do sports like rock climbing or I don't know, surfing, something like that. Because I'm just thinking of all the stuff that people do here in LA. So that's the thing. Point is, gentlemen, is that you can do things like this to build your muscle, but at the same time, what's happening to you is that you're going out and you're feeling your primal self do things. There's very few areas left where we can just be raw with it, where we can just literally growl or yell or whatever. If you're in the middle of the desert rock climbing, you could howl at the moon if you need to. Sometimes you just need to roar just to feel good, just to feel like you can. Let the animal out. So number 2, build your community. And when I say community, I mean your community of people who have shared interests and things that you like, where you can just be around them, hanging out with them, doing something that's just for you. So you can do that in the form of like hobbies. You can do something like geology where you're collecting rocks, and they've got, at least out here in LA, they've got these shops where they've got crystals and rocks, and you can go in there and talk to the people who collect rocks on the weekend, and they've got little clubs and things. So you can have a hobby that you go to with groups of people. You can have a whole club where they've got like a geology club. I don't know why I'm on geology right now, but science nerd, that's just the thing. So it can be hobbies, clubs, and these hobbies and clubs will usually have some kind of activities like get-togethers, luncheons, and what have you. You can also literally have your community of your close friends. Now, as men, especially the longer we've been in relationships, if you've been married for a minute, you got kids, you might not see your homies that often. So once a month, schedule something. Schedule time to hang out with your boys. Whether you guys go play pool, get together at somebody's house and play video games, do something where you're just unplugging from responsibility. Because we all know how it is. We get caught up in the mission. We get caught up in the grind. We get caught up in knowing that we are responsible for so much on our shoulders. And mentally, we might not have a break. So create a break for yourself. Numero uno, build your spirit. So for this one, gentlemen, this is all about stillness, quietness, places and things that can get you just away from everybody else. The hobby, the physical thing for number 3 is about building your primal animal. Number 2 was more about building your community and making sure that you got friends and everything. But number one is about who you are within yourself on a spiritual plane, on a deeper level. So you can do that with things like reading for pleasure or reading for self-improvement. Now, when you start crossing over into the self-improvement reading, some of you, a lot of us anyway, the self-improvement reading doesn't necessarily feed your spirit so much as it activates the ambition in our brain, and then we start thinking about responsibility and stuff. So try to read for pleasure. Try to be somewhere quiet. You sit out on the patio or you go to a coffee shop, something, you sit in a park, you're just reading, you're with nature, and you're just unplugging from everything, but you're also kind of connecting with something deeper, something beyond you, something beyond other people, something beyond humans and our mundane things that go on every day. And through this, you can find peace and silence. So try to be in places that are quiet. So if you're going to read, go to a library where you're required to be quiet. If you stay at home, again, especially if you have kids and a wife and whatever, when you go home, you already know what it is. Oftentimes, you got a honey-do list. You got things that you, even if no one's telling you to do it, you start looking around your house. You're like, dang, I got to fix that. I got to do that. Oh, I forgot. I got to take that out. You will start to think about all the things you got to do. But if you bring a book and you go to a park somewhere and you're just like feeding the birds and just reading, or just sitting back and feeling the breeze and just connecting with nature, that's a whole different thing. That's a spiritual level. And of course, with this whole spiritual level thing, I'm going to bring up God and going to church. So if that's not something you have been doing because you've been too busy, or you haven't done it in a while, you haven't done it since you were a kid, why not try it out? Why not see what it's like? Especially if they have some stuff, like let's say you haven't gone to church in a while. Often churches will have groups and different things that you can be a part of. Even if you don't regularly go to that church, they'll have Bible study, they'll have men's groups, they'll have different things that you can be a part of where you can kind of get your spirit fed. And at the same time, you don't have to worry about the religion of it all if you're wanting just more of that spiritual connection to God, and not necessarily trying to follow a list of rules and have to think about whether you want to join this church, join this religion, what have you. Just, dip your toe in the water. Just a suggestion. So those are the main three, gentlemen. Again, this is not a comprehensive list. This is not covering everything, but these are the three things that you can build. Building your muscles, building your community, building your spirit. But, pro tip, if you are like me and you want to maximize time, and many of us do, because you're probably thinking to yourself, I ain't got time to be doing all this. You talk about going to the park. I got kids, homie. I get you. So, again, pro tip, do something that combines all three. So, for instance, let's say you start doing martial arts. Martial arts will cover the third thing, which is building your muscles, because you're, swinging and hitting, and your muscles are getting tighter in repetition of hitting, and you're getting to fight people, which brings it into number 2 of building the community. You're doing these lessons with other people. You're with people of like mind, and you're having to go to competitions and talk about the same thing. It's kind of like a hobby. And then it also covers number 3. In martial arts, there's a whole spiritual connection portion. They teach you mind, body, spirit connection. So that way you can get all 3 things with just one activity. And this one activity can make all the difference in the world, gentlemen. Because again, if we ain't taking care of us, who gonna do it? Hopefully you got a good woman. Hopefully you got a good family where they are looking out for you. But at the same time, you can't always rely on that. Not everybody is going to have that access to good people. But also, the good people also might be caught up in their own thing. They might be busy doing this stuff and being all bogged down with things as well. It's your responsibility as the leader to make sure you have at least the minimum amount of maintenance. So like I said, I suggest you do this kind of stuff, gentlemen, at least once a month, just so that your mental and emotional is put back together. Okay? Now, I know it might be difficult to think about you. And again, ladies, I can hear you yelling at the screen right now. What you mean, man? Think about themselves. Ladies, you are not a man. Trust me. For us, we don't think about ourselves to the point where the reason many of us respond with the phrase, I don't know, to dang near every question you ask is because we don't check in with ourselves as to what we actually want. Unless it's about a mission, unless it's about the ambition or like taking care of the family or something necessary like food. And even food, I'm like, I don't care. What do you want? I just meat. Just give me something, meat and vegetables and some water. I'm good. We don't think about what we need. So try it out, gentlemen. Think about yourself at least once a month. And yes, it's going to be difficult. And like I said, hopefully you got somebody good. All of this relationship stuff does take a lot of work. Because remember, it's not the same as when you first got with the person. Because acquisition is elementary. Retention is hard. So that's the end of today's lesson. So you already know what the deal is, folks. Go ahead and throw thumbs. And if you found value in this video, subscribe if you haven't done that yet, so that way you can keep up with all the different lessons and things that we put out for you. It does help the channel, helps other people get this message. And speaking of other people getting this message, go ahead and just slide this video to somebody else who might need this. Help a brother out, help out the world, because that's kind of the mission of this whole place, this whole channel, is to do nothing less than make the world better and help your relationships come together like I thought of an Eminem line, coming together like an eyebrow and I'll be sure. Anyway, all right. Now I know you love these lessons, so come on back and click on another video. Until next time, now, deuce deuce.